can I just confirm what the Conservative position is on Waspi women?
Well, as you know, the Ombudsman reported just before the general election, and we were reviewing that. But we're not in government anymore. The Labour Party won the election. They're in government. They need to own this decision. And as you heard at Prime Minister's Question Time today, we are exposing the hypocrisy of this Labour government. Just like with farmers on the family farm tax, or the pensioners on the winter fuel payment, or businesses with the national insurance contribution tax hike, they've let Waspi women down. They made it really clear in the House of Commons, in all these photo opportunities, that they wanted to compensate Waspi women, and within a few months, they've let them down. So it's for them to make that decision. It's for them to own that decision as a political choice.
OK, so you say they've let Waspi women down, but can you just answer the question and tell me what the Conservative position is?
Well, we're not in government right now, and it's really important. Well, I wish we were, by the way, but it's really important that
but you must have a position.
The government take responsibility for the decisions that they make in government. We were reviewing the Ombudsman report, but we were always very clear that this was a significant amount of potential compensation that was being talked about, and we have to manage the public finances responsibly. But
so that sounds like you wouldn't be up for giving Waspi women compensation.
We were very clear that you have to manage, the public finances responsibly, and we were reviewing the Ombudsman report. But as I say, we're not in government.
But why don't you have a policy on it? I mean, we had Reform on this morning and they said, look, we can't afford it. I think the problem is people feel like they just want you to say what your position is.
Well, our position is that it's a very difficult and complex case. The Ombudsman found that there was no financial loss as a result of maladministration, which many of the campaigners suggest there was.
So for that reason, are you saying that you...
But again, I have to stress, we are not in government. It is for the government to take positions.
But you want to be in government, so don't you need to say what you would do if you were in government? And how can you attack Labour if you would potentially not pay that compensation?
What we are suggesting, and what we're saying in terms of attack on Labour, is the hypocrisy, this consistent approach by this Labour government to say one thing before an election, and as soon as they get into power, they do another thing. It's the hypocrisy, I think, that's driving everybody crazy in the country, whether you're a farmer or a businessman, or whether you're a pensioner.
Well, you said you wouldn't raise taxes, and then you got into government and you did raise taxes.
Well, you're talking about the national insurance contribution rise. Well, that was in a situation, by the way, where we just faced a once-in-a-century pandemic, and we believe in paying down our debt, again, managing finances responsibly. But the Labour government attack on the Conservative Party is that, we've left them in this horrendous state. It's absolutely terrible, and we didn't manage the public finances responsibly. But at the same time, they do attack us for that difficult decision to try and bear down on that debt at that time by increasing national insurance. So it is a very different time. There is no pandemic now.
On inflation, can I get a reaction to figures today?
So this is the second month in a row that inflation has gone up. It's I think, an 8-month high for inflation. And it's not really a surprise to us because after the budget, the OBR were very clear that the policies that were decided by Rachel Reeves and this Labour government would be inflationary. We know that the decisions that are made will push up prices for longer. The consequences for ordinary people is that prices in the shops will go up, mortgages will cost more because interest rates will have to stay higher for longer, businesses will have to pay more to borrow to be able to grow their business or invest. And as a country, we face a situation where debt interest now is over £100 billion, so the interest that we're paying as a country on our debt. And the more that interest rates go up or stay higher, that's more money that could be used for other things.
I mean, I guess, again, are you the right people to be making the attack on this, given how high inflation got when you were in power?
Again, context
this is nothing compared to the spiral that we saw.
Context is so important in this situation. So inflation rose across the world, in part, but largely due to the invasion of Ukraine and the consequences of that to push up wholesale gas prices in particular. And we did face 11% inflation at one point, 19% food inflation, just like Germany and lots of other countries around the world. And we worked as a government and as a Treasury when I was in government with the Bank of England to bear down on inflation. And you do that in two ways. One, it means you make difficult decisions that could be inflationary and you don't take those decisions. You don't do the things you want to do because that could push up inflation. But also you support the Bank of England by not pumping the system with money that would be inflationary. Labour, within a few months, have done the opposite. And we are now seeing inflation go up. We worked so hard as a country to go from 11% to 2%. And within just a few short months, because of the decisions in that budget, inflation's going up again. And this is going to cost ordinary workers across the country.